Well, before the break, temperatures running high, as you'd expect. Nadine said there are some people who are scamming the system. We need to make sure we protect those who really do need help. Terry reckoned the test itself, or the tests are wrong, that these changes are going to hurt real people's lives. Menick thought we should assess everyone individually, even if it costs more, because ultimately that way we should be able to get the best help to those who are most in need. But what, Kirsty, this is where it's going to get interesting, are people thinking at home?
OK, we have Jane first from We Are Spartacus campaign group.
That's a campaign group for disability rights. Good morning, Jane.
Good morning.
And thanks for picking up the phone. Is somebody with one leg who can get about OK deserving of mobility benefit?
I wasn't anticipating I was going to have to answer the question about somebody with one leg.
It is written on the screen.
Say something a bit more widely about this issue.
Do you know what, Jane? I really would appreciate it if you could just give me the courtesy, first of all, of answering the question that's on the screen, because that's the core of this debate we're having now, and then we can speak a little bit more broadly, if that's OK, about PIPs.
It's very difficult, but from what I know about artificial limbs, prosthetics, etc., a great many people who have to use prosthetics have difficulty with chafing on their stump, pain in their stump.
Yep.
So having an artificial leg is not the same as having a biological leg. So I think there is a difficulty. I think the danger with the way things are going is that using private company healthcare professionals to do the assessments, the danger is that they will assess somebody with one leg, not really take account of things like stump pain, things like whether the prosthetic fits well enough. And actually, you know what? Most of what you get on the NHS in terms of equipment, and I think prosthetics are probably included, is not totally adequate for the kind of lives most of us want to lead. So actually, if they need an extra payment to get a prosthetic that actually works for them, then I think that's an investment, because I think that without that pain and discomfort, they would be able to contribute a great deal more to their families, the workplace and society. OK,
Jane, stay there just a second. Nadine, you want to get in there?
This payment isn't about that. This payment is about the upper mobility allowance. It is for mobility in terms of paying for cars, people getting out, taxis, that kind of thing. It is a mobility allowance.
OK, Jane?
Exactly.
Disability living allowance is still...
Yeah, that's I said. That it's
it's the mobility component of the allowance.
Yeah, it's for meeting those extra costs.
Right.
And people who need a prosthetic that really works, and other adaptations because they have to use a prosthetic, are likely to incur extra costs, and the payment is to help with the extra costs that are incurred by disability. OK. Would you accept that disability living allowance had to be looked at, that it was due for reform? I think probably something needed to be done, but I think the problem with going from a very individually tailored form where you could actually explain fully what your difficulties were to a simplistic tick box exercise is the wrong way to go when you think of the complexity of people's health needs, disability, and the way it affects them. My concern is that with the best descriptors in the world, and with having reliably, repeatedly, safely, and in a timely manner in there, but unfortunately not in the regulations, but in the guidance, which we're concerned about, only the guidance, I think that the potential for making wrong decisions, because people are complex in terms and varied in terms of their needs, is huge. And I have particular concerns about the very short distance of 20 metres in terms of practical mobility to live a normal life.
OK. One cheeky question before I let you go, Jane. You must be celebrating the reduction of the 50p top rate of tax for our highest earners, like everybody else?
No.
Thank you very much, Jane. Let's have another caller,
We have
please.
Anna on line 2.
Anna, good morning.
Good morning.
What would you like to tell us?
I was interested in the previous caller. I keep hearing there's 20 metres being declared, but 20 metres is 10 metres out and 10 metres back, and people forget that. So whatever distance they say, people have got to get back to where they've walked to, if they can walk the 20 metres. So they've expended their 20 metres, if you like, and can't get back.
Okay.
It's irrational in a way, in many respects.
What about is it rational, if we're going to go to that rationality line, is it rational to view somebody who has a missing leg as being automatically disabled and therefore worthy of an allowance? Is it not? Is it not now, having viewed the amazing achievements that our Paralympians scored, that it is actually that there are people out there with missing limbs who get about quite possibly better than some people get about with weight problems and so forth?
Yes, I'm sorry, but I think it is right and rational that they should be supported. Military, of course, is a special category, and they should be supported anyway because they were supporting the country and left, enter the armed forces in a healthy state and come back with, awful injuries sometimes. So they should be supported. So that's a separate issue. But basically, yes, they should be supported because it isn't just amputation. It's ongoing care needed, ongoing adjustment, sometimes ongoing surgery. And, we forget that. And also, I don't know why the government has chosen this new privatised system when they've got teams of experienced assessors in the system currently, and all they had to do was say, look carefully at some of the regulations that they're applying and some of the checking systems they're applying. They didn't have to do this enormous costly upheaval and privatise it. And the question is, who's benefiting from this privatisation? Because that is not in that respect. Also, can I please say one point, or 2 points? One is the bank has got us into trouble, not the disabled people. And secondly is, if the idea of helping people at home with disability is to prevent more people going into residential care, which will be infinitely more costly.
Okay.
They've got that nicely privatised as well, haven't they? Residential care.
Okay. I'm loving the calls I'm getting from you guys at home. Thank you. Let's have another.
We have Linda on line 5.
Good morning, Linda.
Hello.
Now, is somebody who's missing a leg but can get around okay, are they disabled?
Right, I can speak from personal experience.
Go on.
When I was 21, I was in a very severe car accident and couldn't walk for 7 years, and I received mobility as a higher allowance.
Right.
Then I had my left leg removed because it was so badly damaged, and found I could walk quite easily. I could walk up to a mile easily, so I lost my mobility allowance. And I was quite okay about that because I could get around.
Right.
Over the years, I developed arthritis in most of my lower joints because of badly fitting limbs.
Yeah.
And so again, had to reapply to DLA and got it because I couldn't walk perhaps any distance at all without severe pain. So I do agree that the whole system did need to be looked at, but I think the way they're doing it now, with the tick box assessment, is too limiting. It doesn't look at the whole person.
Right.
And every situation is quite different. Some people with artificial limbs do get incredibly sore legs. I know when I get a blister or a sore, I can be laid up for weeks. You can't put any weight on your leg at all. So I do think it needs to take those kind of things into account.
Okay.
It's just to save money, and then at the end of the day, why not make it 10 metres? Why not make it 5 metres?
Yeah, but then as you heard from Linda there, you've just had testimony from somebody who's been on the allowance, off the allowance and back on the allowance, showing that there are changing needs.
But I would say that most people would be honest about it anyway, when their needs change.
I don't know, but it's been fascinating.
But I don't think that it's been bought in for that reason. It's been bought in for that reason, for them to take money off, and it's easy to say.
But that's not what we were talking about. We were talking about whether missing a limb makes you disabled, just so you remember. And it was interesting to hear that variety of responses. Thank you.
Very reliable. Higher pay for best teachers as across-the-board rises are ended, and it sounds great, doesn't it? Simplistically put like that. Who's going to disagree with that? Best teachers get the highest
I reckon
pay.
you're going to disagree with it, Terry, if I had to take a guess.
Well, because really, let's say you were a teacher, the cleverer the pupils you teach, the better a teacher you look. So what it means is all the good teachers will be in the sort of posher schools, in the nicer areas.
Are they going to, is that how they're going to gain it? Or are they going to be measuring it on gains, grade gains?
Yeah, well, I don't know. And all the cheap teachers will end up in the poor schools. And then the per capita spending anyway on teachers per head is much higher in the south east than it is in the rest of the country.
If it was done on grade improvement, OK, then the temptation would surely be for teachers who can make more money, good teachers can make more money by moving to schools with more challenging academic records.
But they also
which would
just,
improve
they
the
also
state of
just
education.
fiddle the stuff. It's a bit like SATs, you know, they don't really teach the kids anything anymore. They just teach them the answers to the questions they're going to be asked. That's why they all seem to have all these grades, and when they come out and think, you don't seem to know much, really.
Yeah, but that's not teachers' fault, is it? That's legal.
Well, no, but everyone gets on board with this whole thing, don't they? They all get on board with it, where the teachers think, well, I'm going to be judged on this, so therefore I'm going to try and make it as easy as possible.
But then the flip of that, though, is I think back to my school days, we had teachers that were damn useless.
Oh, yeah.
And why should they get the same pay rise as someone who's busting their gut to be good?
But it was covered up because us pupils at my old school, we were all geniuses.
So it so shows. It so shows.
So there you go. That's that one. Dodgy, though, I think. Then in the Independent, top brass warn number 10, avoid Mali escalation. As you know, the French have gone in against these Islamist rebels, sort of Al-Qaeda types, and they could enmesh the UK in a drawn-out conflict. We're offering to help with transport and stuff like that, but I think our plane broke down, didn't it?
Right.
You know... Can't blame that on your unions anymore.
Go on, give it a go, Terry.
No, I mean, again, yeah, we don't want to be dragged into it. You know, will we? And already the French are being warned that, you know, some swivel-eyed loony's going to sort of carry the darkness to them on the French mainland. But
difficult.
You know.
I mean, you can see it's a difficult one, a difficult situation.
Yeah, absolutely. This is my favourite. This is what you know, when we were talking about benefits, this one kept going, and you mentioned it was going over in my mind all the time. It's so heartwarming a story. This is in the Times, and it's Goldman Sachs bankers immoral for delaying bonus to dodge 50p tax. So the bankers, who were the ones who took all our money off us in the first place and then used it to gamble like drunken bookies at a racetrack, lost it, and then said, give us your money, and then our government gave them all our money without stipulating any conditions for it. You know, as you would if you gave someone a few billion. You'd say, you do with it what you want. Right? Now what they're doing is because they're going to lower the Tories in their wisdom, you know, while...
Coalition.
Oh, coalition, sorry. While the Tories with a liberal rump, right, while they're squeezing everybody else's nuts, are basically saying, well, if you're really rich, we're going to drop your tax rate to 45 pence in the pound. So Goldman Sachs are delaying until after April the 6th, giving out their bonuses. Now, you can't blame Goldman Sachs, because if you scatter loads of, like, sort of food across the floor, you can't blame the rats who start running over it.
You can blame Goldman Sachs, because when we were doing before Christmas, the big multinational companies that were paying their tax, but not very much of it, we did have Starbucks offer to pay this random amount of £20 million of tax out of the goodness of their hearts, hoping to get people back in their coffee shops. So I suppose there is the possibility that they could do the right thing. It's not illegal, as you said, but
you see, a lot of it's very
very
ideological, you know, because, you know, the idea is profit is good. So I always say, bring back the slave trade, you know what I mean?
I'm sorry.
Let's do that. Well, if profit's good, if that's our ideology, let's make even more profit.
You're talking us out, so we'll have to move on to the next one.
All right, OK. Very quickly, this is Rory McIlroy. I bet you will. He's just signed his name to a £156 million Nike mega deal. I'm not a big golf fan. He's a very nice lad, isn't he? Irish. You know, he's not got all that kind of, you know, Tiger Woods and his, you know, his antics. So, you know, he's very attractive to sponsors, and now he's like the kind of posh and Becks, isn't he? Because he's going out with that Danish tennis star Carolina Wozniacki. So they're like posh and Becks. So it's money well spent, I suppose. £156 million Nike mega deal.
For knocking a ball in a hole.
And, yeah, for knocking a ball in a hole, and he'll probably say, can you delay giving it me until after April the 6th?
He's Irish, he doesn't have to worry.
Northern Irish, though.
Oh, Northern Irish?
British.
OK, no, he does.
As they'd say.